Synchronicity University is where the most trusted and celebrated names in astrology today come to teach. These programs coming up in November are choose your tuition rate for a very limited time at synchronicityuniversity.com. Links are in the description below. Hello, fabulous superstar Cancer. Welcome to your horoscope for the month of October 2023. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. It is a remarkable astrological month, without a doubt. Big moves happening in the sky now. Boy, is this a very special time, and I don't say that lightly. We have eclipse season on the horizon. The second part of the month has that eclipse season compact within it, and yet we feel this energy importantly and profoundly as we navigate through this month forward from here. I want to be careful not to say profound too often, but I do think that this is one of those months where a lot of people out there are going to feel like a lot changed for them. In some cases, very quickly at that. And that might be you, which would be lovely as well. You can't get away from feeling things very strongly as a Cancer. This month certainly brings that to a whole other heightened level. So let's take it one at a time. Lots of energies, especially in the first 3 weeks at the foundation of your chart, having to do with your past, having to do with your home and your living situation. A lot is stirring at the foundations of your life as you're understanding what home means to you differently. Now, this could be being at home within your body, within your own skin, but it's also about being at home literally in terms of buying, selling, moving, new roommate, how you feel about the space that you're in. It's home in terms of being at home in the world. And it's home in terms of your relationship with your past and your parents in particular. And so you can see that this part of the sky is very rich with meaning. And so if you feel as if you need to go at a slower pace or that you want time alone and isolation, that really is okay. If you are wanting to figure out where home is for you, that journey is something that may feel very much on the surface, but can also be rewarded in its own way as well. And so let's go one at a time as we navigate through this month. On the 4th of the month, this is where I think we are going to begin to feel those eclipse energies strongly, even though we're not at the eclipse just yet. The 4th of the month brings Mars meeting the South Node at the foundation of your chart. Now, so much of the sky speaks to what we want, why we want it, how we go about getting it. But as I spoke of in my book, The Universe is Wise and Loving, it's right over there, which is about the nodes of the moon. The nodes are these doorways, if you will. When the North Node is activated, new people, places, things, situations enter that represent karmic blessings. But when it's the South Node that's activated, it is a doorway opening, but it is as part of your journey towards blessings, towards love, towards wisdom. People, places, things, situations exit for you at this time. And Mars moving over the South Node is a powerful sense of closure that begins for you now. And I say begins because there are other things transpiring almost simultaneously. And especially as we navigate the beginning of the month that speak so strongly to an awareness of karmic closures, but also this sense of you feeling that much more rooted in an understanding that you have so much more yet to do in this lifetime. Some of these closures instantly you're going to feel are a blessing. I would even say some Cancers may find reason to celebrate very quickly, but chances are it's also going to come with a lot of emotion stirring. Now, the emotion is not only because of the nature of Mars and the South Node itself, in that emotional foundational part of the sky, but just a week later, on the 10th of the month, we get Pluto going direct. And what that means is with Pluto so slowly moving in the sky, Pluto is basically stationary through this month at the height of its power, appearing to stand still, but technically does go forward on the 10th. This is your opposite sign. And so chances are, whatever you're coming to realize about your past, about your roots, about your patterns, about the things that you've been replaying from your past without being consciously aware of it, chances are some one-on-one alliance or interaction with another person awakens some of the understanding for you now. And there might be a sense of push and pull or back and forth with another person. It could be at this time that it feels like a certain alliance is coming to some close in some way, but it could also be a fresh understanding that empowers you to move forward with greater honesty and a greater sense of vulnerability as well. And so it is also possible that as a result of your interaction with another person, you are encouraged to change your life from the foundations up. But that's not all. On the 14th of the month, that's when we get our first eclipse, the beginning of eclipse season, taking you back to the South Node, taking you back to the foundation of your chart. And this eclipse is close in the sky to Mars, to Mercury. It is speaking in a conversation of tension with Pluto. Now, those connections are going to continue in the days after the eclipse. In fact, it is going to be in the days that follow the eclipse. We get the Sun and Mercury meeting the South Node with precision, and we get these placements squaring Pluto with precision as well. And so you can see here, it's not just about what's isolated to a given moment, but rather these energies that grow in importance and strength and clarity as you navigate through the first 3 weeks of this month. It's the 21st when all of these big energies start to culminate. As much as a solar eclipse brings in the new and the next, and that can be really exciting, that solar eclipse at the foundation of your chart can bring with it a real change of circumstance where it comes to your living situation. There's also something very fated about what's happening at this time, an understanding of where home is for you, but also where home no longer is for you, and what that means on a deeper level for you now. But how is it that another person, a one-on-one exchange with another person, either awakens this understanding or is part of your decision making? That is part of what could be coming to the surface for you in important ways. And so we get to this precision of squares on the 21st, and that's when a lot of things feel like they come together, they make a lot more sense, and you feel empowered to make choices moving forward from here from the ground up. And then we get to the 28th, and that's when we get a lunar eclipse. It's a partial lunar eclipse. The last of a series that we have had taking place in a friendship part of your sky. We had an eclipse here last year as well, but consider that it is going to be a few years until we get another eclipse here in this friendship-oriented part of the sky for you. This eclipse is close in the sky to Jupiter and opposite Mars and Mercury. Now, that energy with Jupiter, I love for you, I have to say. That is energy that heightens an awareness around blessings. But again, there's going to be this very strong push-pull, a lot of energy coming right to the surface, very strong reactions happening at this time. Whereas earlier in the month, the squares of Pluto invite a greater sense of control, even if it's hard. A lot could be happening within, but there's a resistance of letting it show. The opposition of Mars makes it very hard to keep things in. And it is at this point when we get that eclipse, partial lunar eclipse once again, that also represents closures as well. And this is where it can feel as if there's either a new transformative understanding with a friend or within a group dynamic, a professional group endeavor. Or there is a sense of a person perhaps exiting at this time. Again, there is that push-pull. There's also a need for balance here. If you find a lot of emotion coming to the surface, but leading to clarity between you and another person, that connection can transform for the better, greater clarity, greater honesty moving forward from here. But where it is that push-pull ends up being too much, well, this can be deciding that perhaps your alliances within that group or with that person have served their purpose. Again, it's an eclipse. It inherently involves the nodes. And so lunar eclipses bring closure. And it is that sense of people, in particular people, but perhaps other situations as well, exiting as part of being more open to greater blessings and greater possibilities, navigating forward from here. Now, where it comes to matters of love, love is huge, I have to say, for the Cancerians out there. And a lot of that comes down to Pluto. On the 10th, Pluto goes direct, is stationary throughout the month, but especially you want to watch what's happening around the 10th. You add to this all that energy at the foundation of your chart. And this becomes a profound and new way to understand your connections and alliances with other people. What has been replayed? What patterns have been replayed that no longer need to be? Where is it that you are now in terms of love and what love is going to mean for you? Pluto is searingly honest, honest on a level that feels very emotionally intense. There's that word again. But yeah, I think you can't hide your feelings with energy like this, even if you want to, even if you try. Where you are in love and how you feel about it, this has been a big learning curve for you since 2008, since you've had Pluto in your opposite sign. We're nearing the end of this extended transit, but it's when Pluto changes directions, when it's standing still, that the awareness around what the big lessons have been for you come right to the surface in profound and powerful ways, as is the case now. For those of you open to meeting someone new, I think there very likely may be a very strong attraction to another person. It may feel fated. It may feel consuming in some way. However, the purpose of this interaction is to help you to understand something about your past patterns, where it is that you don't have to replay them anymore. And so sometimes this happens because we meet somebody so different than what we've known before, and we find that connection, and that helps us to appreciate that, you know what, we don't need to replay what we've replayed and live what we've lived before. We got that lesson, we're moving forward. But also possible, of course, is that you attract somebody that very quickly goes to that place of a repeat of patterns. But this time you're much more aware. You're seeing how it is that you're carrying forward really old stuff. It could even be stuff from your childhood, ancestral stuff and patterns. And that illumination helps you to understand and get to the same place. What do you want to repeat and what you don't want to repeat becomes a lot more clear to you, navigating forward from here. For those of you just starting to date someone, if Pluto going direct in your opposite sign is anything, it is all or nothing. It is showing you the truth of this person and what you feel and what's really been going on. If there have been any manipulations or obsessions or even feelings of unfairness, even, and I'm sorry to say, but if there's been a pattern of abuse as well, this is where a lot of that stirs. And it's stirring because it's about the universe getting you honest about what's going on here. And in that, you get to make a choice. You get to decide how much of what's happening here is good, how much is not good, and what's not good. Well, there's a desire not to repeat that pattern. However, the other flip side of this is, if this is someone who really represents transformation on a higher end, a more positive set of circumstances, a sense that this person is different, well, this can be a time when it feels that much more authentic to connect and be with this person now. And that in turn helps you to understand what it is to move forward with a different type of relationship going forward from here. For those of you in an established bond, what a remarkable time. For those of you who have felt that you are in the right relationship for you, there's no other, dynamics and things that would raise red flags. Pluto changing directions can denote an increase of emotional honesty and intimacy that feels like it reaches a very deep place within you, that feels that much more meaningful to you both. However, if you have felt for a while that you're not in the right relationship for you, or if something within you, some intuition, some uncertainty has stirred, well, Pluto going direct takes out any of the ambiguity. It makes things very clear, but it's an emotional clarity. Is this person manipulative in any way? Is there any layer of abuse playing out here? And I'm so sorry to say, but if that has been a pattern, this is where you see it. And that is actually a blessing, to get honest with yourself about who this person really is, what's really been going on here, and what it is you don't want to continue in terms of patterns that you don't want to live anymore. That may end up being the most empowering thing about this month, being able to see it and also to know that you have changed. You are different and you don't need to walk that path anymore. What I love about this month for you, there's so much here. It's a powerful and meaningful astrological moment. Well, there's really so much here, but I am going to say that very powerful energy at the foundation of your chart really is about understanding your roots differently in some way. With every closure comes a new beginning, and the beginnings are so bright and filled with potential and possibility, but they also invite you to ask yourself some really tough questions, to dig very deep within you. That's the path of living a more authentic life, and you're going for that now. That authenticity is from the roots up, and it's going to affect just about everything for you now, not just where you live, your environment. And in fact, I would say some Cancers may surprise themselves by buying, by selling, by moving. You didn't expect it until you got honest and it happened. But for others, this is not just going to be a change of living situation, but rather it's a change within, feeling different in terms of the home that is your body, that is your skin. That in turn changes everything around you. Well, thank you so much for watching. Do you know about Superstar? NadiyaShahSuperstars.com, where you get expanded, exclusive video scopes each week for each sign for as low as just $3 a month with choose your membership rate. Higher tiers are also available, which give you things like all access passes to Synchronicity University events, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the Superstar space at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com. Links are in the description below.